Hello, fight fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy Harrages, and welcome to a special weekend edition preview and prediction episode. This is not a boxing and coffee episode. As you can see, we are in the afternoon here on Saturday, April 10th, and I am drinking a Red Bull. I had my coffee already. Unfortunately, I didn't have any boxing and coffee episodes last week, primarily because I had so many interviews to go through. Some of them I posted up on the channel. So hopefully you had a chance to check those out. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you leave me feedback, comments on those different interviews. Basically, I talked to all of the main heavy hitters on this week's Showtime card that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, along with Stephen Shaw, who's fighting on April 22nd as the main event for the heavyweight fight against Jermaine Franklin, two American undefeateds, and loads and loads and loads more. Also, next weekend on April 17th on the Fox card, have interviews with Tony Harrison that'll be up on fansided.com. Not video, but there'll be stories on those for fansided.com/boxing. So that's how you check those out. Tony Harrison, I just talked to Omar Juarez yesterday, and also Vito Milnicki Jr., the young welterweight. So get ready for that on fansided.com/boxing. Should be showing up early next week on fansided.com. So get ready for that. On Sunday, I should have a couple other articles up on fansided.com/boxing. And on Monday, my weekend review column after the fight will be up on fansided.com/boxing as well. Before we get into the preview and predictions for this weekend's bouts, I want to give a shout out to Ben Amana, who is the founder and CEO of Boxraw Clothing. If you haven't checked out boxraw.com, go there. Incredible boxing apparel for casual wear, for training, all sorts of stuff. Ben was just named at the age of 29 one of Forbes 30 under 30. So if you Google his name and you Google Boxraw, you'll see that on Forbes. Congratulations, Ben. It's well deserved. If you surf through my channel a little bit, you'll see a long interview with Ben that I had a while back. True gentleman, true passion and pioneer for the sport, doing great things, and I think you will really enjoy Boxraw Clothing. Down below in the description, I have a link where you can use my code to get discounts at boxraw.com, to get discounts on clothing, apparel, whatever it is. Use my code, buy yourself some swag. It's awesome. As you can see, I'm rocking Boxraw right now, and they're not just normal cotton shirts. They're blended, great for just wearing every day like I'm wearing now. Could also wear it during a workout. Amazing stuff. I love them. I have their hand wraps. Great for everything. So make sure that you check out boxraw.com. Use my code below to get that discount. First of all, this is a huge weekend. Right now, as we speak, on Matchroom, DAZN, they've got the Conor Benn versus Samuel Vargas bout going on. I'll have a recap for that on fansided.com/boxing. But later on tonight, there's two cards on ESPN. You've got Joe Smith Jr. versus Vlasov. That's going to be a very interesting fight. I've got Smith winning that one. How is he going to win it? I'm going to go with a late knockout, just because Vlasov has been through so much medically with COVID. I think Smith is probably got to be in the best condition of his life at this point, so I'm giving him the nod. But the main card I'm going to be focusing on for this video is the Jaron Ennis versus Sergey Lipinets fight. Reason being, I was talking closely to all of the majority of the fighters on this card. If you go to fansided.com/boxing, I know I'm prepping it a lot. I had interviews with Eimantas Stanionis, with Sergey Lipinets and Jaron Ennis. Also talked to Jerwin Ancajas 2 days ago on Thursday on the media call, as well as Thomas Delorme. I also talked to him as well. So I've got stuff out there on that. And my interview with Jaron Ennis was back a couple weeks ago, and you can see that here on this site. So go back, check it out, see what he had to say. And I'm going to kind of work through those three main fights on tonight's Showtime card, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Showtime, of course. The first fight features Thomas Dulorme versus Eimantas Stanionis, and everyone is raving about Eimantas Stanionis, and I get it. The Lithuanian product is looking like the real deal. He's 12-0, has 9 KOs, going up against a seasoned veteran who's looking to work his way back up the ladder. I mean, he's still a top 20, welterweight at this point. So you still have a threat there. Good KO percentage. He's at 53%, but he's still dangerous. Someone that likes to fight. Going to be a great test for Eimantas Stanionis. And I think we're going to learn a lot about Eimantas Stanionis. Based on just this matchup and what I've seen on film, I think Stanionis is going to win this fight. It's going 12 rounds, which I'm looking through Stanionis' record right now. He's never been 12 rounds. So right there, Delorme has an advantage. But I think Stanionis is just so strong, so powerful, that his youth is going to prevail in this fight. And I think that he will be tested, but I think it's going to go to the distance. I think he's going to have to win by decision, which I think will happen if he knocks out Delorme, which has been done before. I mean, Delorme has shown a suspect chin at times, but that was against, the best of the best. I mean, Terrence Crawford, Luis Carlos Abregu. I should note that he lost to Yordenis Ugas, Jamal James, and they weren't able to get him out of there, but not quite the same type of caliber of puncher as a Terrence Crawford or some of those names. So I think that's where Delorme is going to last the fight, but I think he's going to lose. But it'll be interesting. But I'm very eager to see how Eimantas looks tonight. And I think he can go a long way in really establishing himself as part of this new wave of the welterweight division, which I've been talking about in my columns after the fight for a while. So definitely check that out. The bout after that, I guess it's the co-main event, features IBF super flyweight champion Jerwin Ancajas coming off of a 16-month layoff against tough, hard-hitting Jonathan Rodriguez. Rodriguez has only lost once, never been knocked out, and they've both been off for, well, really. Rodriguez fought in December, so he's a little bit fresher. I mean, he just had a fight. Jerwin hasn't had a fight in 16 months. He's not concerned about it. I'm concerned about it, but he's still got enough youth and talent, I think, to get by Rodriguez in this fight. Another one where I'm thinking that this is going to go the distance, but you could have fireworks here. Rodriguez has a 69% KO rating, where Ancajas has a 62% KO rating. So guys that like to trade, I just hope it doesn't get ugly with holding and things of that nature. I said it in my story today after talking to Cajas, that he said that his idol is Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Well, if he wants a shot at a guy like Chocolatito, he's got to make a statement tonight. Otherwise, no one wants to see him in there against Chocolatito. I mean, I guess Chocolatito would want the fight just so he can take his belt, but it doesn't make things very interesting. So I'm very curious to see what type of condition Cajas is after such a long layoff. I think he wins tonight. I think he wins a decision. If he wins by a knockout, well, then he's really kind of showing his worth as a champion and is going to get people talking, and then throws that interest in there against guys like Chocolatito or even a Quadras. I just want to see him against someone that's a high caliber fighter. So he has the ability to do that. Will he do it tonight? I don't know. I think it goes the distance, but hey, trust me, I would love to see fireworks tonight. And then, of course, you've got the main event between Sergey Lipinets, former IBF super lightweight champion, going up as a welterweight against Jaron Ennis. I talked to both of them, and Ennis, to me, is a blue chipper. He is the guy that I think is the future of the welterweight division. He's got all the potential. Now he just has to realize it and make it happen. I think he's going to do that. He's shown me enough in his fights against solid talent. Unfortunately, in the last fight against Chris Van Heerden, it ended with a clash of heads, no contest. ended after one round. I mean, it was a really bad cut, and I like Chris a lot, and it was really unfortunate. Um, but you know, he's a big welterweight at 5'10", good reach, 74 inches, and he's got the skills. Maybe not the hardest one punch knockout puncher out there. Maybe that's not his forte. He likes to beat his opponents up and break them down, but he can break them down quickly, and he can do that because his skill set is so good. His footwork and his defense, everything. He to me, he's the total package. He fights. It has him listed as orthodox, but he could put just as much time in the ring in a fight, fighting from a southpaw stance. He switches back and forth. He can do either. And I'm trying to remember back to one of our interviews. I've interviewed him several times where I want to say he feels more comfortable at times out of the southpaw stance. So he's a really dangerous fighter that can give everybody problems. He's young, 23 years old. So this is the perfect fight for him against a guy that he said is tailor-made for him, and I completely agree. Sergey Lipinets, tough. He's a tough guy. I wasn't overly enthusiastic with his performance against Castillo Clayton. I think I actually had Clayton winning that fight. I'd have to go back and read my recap on it, but I think I had Clayton winning that. So Lipinets may have gotten by in that last one. A guy that came to boxing late from kickboxing, so still a combat sport, but isn't going to show you the boxing skills of a Jaron Ennis who's been in and around boxing his entire life. Since he was 2 years old, he was in the boxing gym. I mean, his family boxes. That's what they do. So I really think that Lipinets is going to be bested in this one. Looking at Jaron Ennis, does he stop Lipinets? That's the question. And if I'm a betting man and I'm looking at the odds, I'm taking the odds for the knockout. So this is going to be out of the top 3 bouts on this card, the one where I am going to predict a knockout. I think, Lipinets is a good boxer. He's a former champion. He's proved himself in a lot of ways. I just think Ennis is too good, and I think he's really starting to percolate to the point where he's realizing that potential. And once he unleashes it, as he said to me, he has a feeling that some of those other guys, the Spence and the Crawfords, are going to move up a division. Well, if he takes care of business against Lipinets with the knockout, I think they should move up because there's only so long that you can avoid fighting him. And I think he's going to make major strides. If he wins this one in impressive fashion, it's another fight where he's going to move into that top 10 caliber type welterweight, where you could argue, Lipinets is right now. According to boxrec.com, they have him at 15, but you can make the argument he's a top 10 guy, former champion. But I really think Jaron Ennis is the future of their welterweight division. Virgil Ortiz Jr., another guy that I say is the future of the welterweight division. But if we're going to sit here and say, well, who can have the potential to really unify it? They all do, but I see something special in Ennis. And until someone solves that puzzle, I'm going to keep singing his praises. And I think we're going to see something special from him tonight. I don't love making predictions because anything can happen in boxing. All it takes is one punch for the tenor of a fight to change. But if you're asking me my opinion, which if you're watching this still, maybe you care about, that's what I have to say. I really am impressed with Ennis. He's one of the most exciting fighters in boxing. If you don't know who he is, definitely watch tonight on Showtime, 9 o'clock Eastern, and that fight's coming up. That's all I've got. Next week, I've got, like I said, a slew of interviews for you guys that will be on that Fox April 17th card. Make sure that you're checking that out, fansided.com/boxing. Also, I promise you, I will hit you up with some boxing and coffee in the mornings next week. I got most of my interviews out of the way already, so I should have some free time to set some stuff up and just talk about boxing. I haven't had that time lately, but I think it's going to be there next week. Famous last words, right? So that's what's coming next week, along with a few different features that I'm excited about. But make sure to stay tuned to the channel. Make sure to check me out. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a good fight night.